Hey guys, Craig from Accelerate here. Come check out this 110 amp hour lithium dual battery system we've done on this Defender. It's got a Redarc DC2DC, it's got an Enerdrive 1000 watt inverter. We've also completed a full towing setup on this beast too. Come check it out. Okay guys, now in the back of this Land Rover where all the magic happens. A lot of newer cars really lack the space to put a dual battery system or anything sort of auxiliary. Not the case with the Defender, guys. These have got loads of room under here, and on a nice little tray from off-road down under, we've managed to fit everything here. So come have a look. So here we are under the floor. We've got 100 amp hour INVICTA lithium battery. We've got the Redarc 40 amp DC2DC core charger. And we've also got an Enerdrive 1000 watt inverter all in this tray, all under the floor. You don't have to take the jack out, don't take anything else out. Just sits there. Really awesome, nice, neat way of putting everything under here, and it's not intruding on any space. So, a couple of things. INVICTA 100 amp hour battery. It's a slimline version, so nice and thin, fits under here beautifully. Best part about INVICTA batteries, two things mainly. One is that they have a 7-year warranty. So 7-year full replacement warranty from INVICTA. If that doesn't scream quality, I don't know what does. For someone to back their product, especially a battery for 7 years, you know it's really good quality. Second thing, IEC certification. So INVICTA lithium batteries at the moment are the only lithium battery on the market that has an IEC certification for the whole battery, not just the cells. What that means is, essentially, it's the only battery that's gone through all of the extensive, heat testing, fire testing, all the safety things that you'd want in a battery. It's the only one in Australia to actually get that certification. Later in the year, they are in Caravans, they're actually making it mandatory to have this certification. So INVICTA are ahead of the ball game. They always have been. These are the bee's knees when it comes to batteries. Okay, so now we've gone through the battery. Obviously you need something to be able to charge the battery. So what we've used for this one is a Redarc DC2DC 40 amp core. Now, you might be wondering, oh, it's silver, it's different. Correct, it is. So this is the core version. So Redarc still do two different versions. They do the original black ones, which are the waterproof versions, or they do the cores, which are non-waterproof. Obviously in this scenario, it's inside the car, it's covered, it's not going to get dust, it's not going to get water. No reason why we can't use the cores. They're a good bit cheaper and they're still the same really good Redarc quality you all love and are used to. Okay, now what we've also got in here in this little part of the tray is this Enerdrive 1000 watt inverter. So what this means, guys, is that the customer can run small 240 volt household appliances off of this system. So things like, for instance, a small toaster or sandwich press, as long as they're under 1000 watt, you'll be able to run that. Things like battery tool chargers, so Makita, Hitachi, Milwaukee, power tool battery chargers, you'll be able to charge a couple of those batteries off of this system while you're driving or while you're stationary. You can also, even things like hair dryers, small hair dryers, things like that, as long as it's under 1000 watts. So if you get the device you're looking at, look at the back on the label. If it says power consumption 1000 watts or less, you can plug it into this, turn it on, and away you go. If you don't require an inverter, guys, with your system, there's still heaps of space left on this off-road down under tray that you can quite easily put something like an ARB twin cylinder compressor on, or anything that's sort of that size. There's a good amount of space there left over that, yeah, you can put whatever you want. It's a really, really nice mounting solution for your Land Rover. So what we've done here, guys, we've actually adapted a 200 series, or our Accelerate 200 series cup holder socket bank, and we've flush mounted everything in the side of this Land Rover. We think it looks super nice and neat. It's powder coated, a similar color and texture to the rest of the body, and houses 4 sockets. So 2 Andos and 2 sockets. In this case, we've done 1 Grey Anderson for power output, so like to the customer's fridge, or if they got a small compressor or something along those lines, they can plug it into that one. Red Anderson is solar input, so if this customer would like to use their portable solar blanket, as long as they ditch the regulator on it, they can plug it straight into this Red Anderson, but then feeds back in through that 40 amp Redarc DC-DC, and then charges the battery up that way. We've also got the 2 sockets up here. So standard 12 volt cigarette socket, accessory socket, whatever you want to call it, up in this corner to power camp lights, or if your fridge runs off that, can do that. But what we've got on this side is a twin USB socket, but it's actually a USB-A and USB-C. So obviously a lot of new phones these days are going towards a USB-C charging point, obviously because they're much quicker and just better because they don't break. So we've got one USB-C 4 amp down the bottom and one USB-A 3 amp socket at the top. Righto guys, so now we are inside the Defender. So a few things we've done here. We've got the Redarc TowPro Elite. We've got the Safety Dave screen up here to view his cameras on his Caravan. And we've also got the GME XRS UHF radio. So I'll start with this bad boy. This particular one is a GME XRS 370. Now, GME do a few different versions of these, and a lot of people don't understand what the differences are. So this one's a 370, that's sort of the middle of the pack. The lower grade one, the XRS 330, is essentially the same unit, but the main difference is it has a smaller mounting chassis, or brains if you want to call it that doesn't have a speaker in it. It also doesn't come with a magnetic mic holder. This one here, the 370, has got a larger steel chassis or brains, which has a speaker in that, as well as a speaker in the handpiece. So you've got a bit of extra volume there if you're a bit hard of hearing or you just like a really loud UHF. The only other one up from this is the XRS 390. It's more designed for agricultural use and the likes of, so it's waterproof, or water resistant anyway, and has a few other features on it sort of more related to like a farming or an agricultural situation. So for most vehicles, this baby here, the XRS 370, is our pick, because nice strong steel chassis, 2 speakers, and they're super handy. These ones here are also Bluetooth as well, so you can connect to your phone, you can program in all your favorite settings. They've got a really smart playback feature as well, so if you miss a transmission or a couple of transmissions in a convoy, you've missed what somebody said, you can actually program it. So if you hit a button, I normally program this top one, you can actually replay what they said, if that makes sense, up to a few minutes later. So it makes it really handy to go back and hear what people said if you've missed it. They also have location services as well, so if you're in a convoy or a group of people who are using these XRS UHFs, which most people are these days, you can also set them so that they drop a pin on a map whenever someone transmits, essentially, so you can track where they are if you want to. You don't have to use that. Of course, GME, Australian made, 5-year warranty. Why would you use anything else? Over to the Redarc TowPro now. So for this one, we'll just mount it down here, nice and easy in the standard little switch blank down here, so we're not putting extra holes and stuff in the dash. Same thing, Redarc TowPros, they're still Australian made, and the best of the best in terms of brake controllers. They have a proportional braking mode. So what that essentially means, guys, is that it has like a little inertia sensor, I guess if you want to call that, inside the brains of the unit. And what that does, once it's calibrated itself, is it allows for a much smoother braking experience. So instead of a traditional brake controller, whereas as soon as you tap the brake pedal and the device registers that the brake pedal's on, it will apply the full amount you've set it to the trailer right away instantaneously, which is okay. It's going to pull the trailer up, but you'll find it's quite jolty and quite a harsh braking experience. The beauty about these Redarc TowPros is that they have the proportional mode, which means that it will only, or essentially, it adjusts the braking output and when it comes on, and the delay as to how the car's pulling up and to how the trailer's pushing the car, if that makes sense. So it adjusts its output, makes it for a much smoother braking experience. So the other thing in here, of course, Safety Dave monitor, pretty standard. Obviously everyone knows and loves the Safety Dave gear. This one's just got obviously the 2 channels running to the back of the car, so the customer can plug their Caravan in and they can have 2 different camera views through the monitor in here while they're traveling. So stay nice and safe. They can see who's behind them and can safely overtake and allow other people to overtake, and just, they're really, for the money, guys, they're just a really awesome system. So on this vehicle, guys, the customer's not getting a bull bar. Didn't really like the idea of the bonnet mount bracket on his vehicle. So what we've gone for instead is this really small, really discreet GME antenna. This one's the AE5002. So essentially it's an on-glass type antenna. So what that means is two things. Super easy to install. You don't actually have to go through the firewall or anything in this. All it is a little sticky pad on the outside, a little capacitive receiver box on the inside, and then the cabling runs in through there, which means, yeah, way quicker install time. But the main benefit is obviously you don't need a bull bar, you don't need brackets, stick straight to the windscreen, and they still work surprisingly good, guys. So I personally used to run one of these on a daily that I had, and I still realistically used to get sort of between 4 and 6 Ks depending on the terrain. So for what they are, still got really good range, still going to keep you nice and safe when you're overtaking trucks and you're in that environment where you need to use the UHF, or even in a convoy. They just make for a really nice, simple, discreet, easy option. Towing setup, we've got, I'll run through each part individually, what they do and why you need them. Gray Anderson. Most caravans, Gray Anderson is a ignition switch power feed to your caravan for a number of things. Can be just to run your fridge if you have a 3-way fridge, but more than likely on most caravans, it's used to power, either charge the batteries while you're driving or power a DC2DC charger in the caravan to charge the caravan batteries while you're driving. Now, a lot of places will fit an Anderson plug that's not isolated. So what that means is it's got power running through the whole time. So if it's used to run your fridge or used to charge your battery system in your caravan and you leave it connected when you're pulled up, that is pulling power from the car while the car's turned off and not charging. So a lot of people will not realize, they'll stay camping for a couple of days somewhere, go and start the car's completely dead. Not a good scenario. So when we fit these, we always run them through an isolator, an ignition switched isolator. So what that means is when you turn the car on, it allows power and charge through. As soon as you turn the car off, kills the power, doesn't allow any power through. You have zero risk of running your battery flat. Underneath, we've got the Red Anderson. So Red Andersons are typically used in a dual battery scenario for solar input. Obviously not the case for towing setups. There's normally 2 scenarios most van manufacturers require a Red Anderson plug for. One is for electronic stability control. So most of the electronic stability controls, like your Alco systems, require a 30 amp constant power feed through to the electronic sway controller. And what that does is power it up, so when you're towing and driving, it's giving power to that, so your van's not going to sway and carry on. Other reason they could use this is if your van or your boat trailer has hydraulic brakes. So what this then does is feed power through to either the hydraulic pump, or if it's an air operated system, the air compressor, which then supplies the braking power for the trailer. Either way, they're both normally 30 amp circuits and generally required to be straight off the car battery. Okay, what I've got down here, the 2 Safety Dave cables. So you might be confused. You've probably seen a lot of our setups typically use the Safety Dave WASA cable. So the WASA cable is essentially a big curly connector that goes between the car and the van. This customer's caravan doesn't have that. So it just has 2 camera cables going straight to the drawbar of the van, in which case he can now just plug them straight into these and then it'll all work seamlessly. Electric brakes all get fed into the standard 12-pin plug. So they will feed through there, connects to your caravan and works as it normally does. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave in the comment section down below. Shoot us a like and a subscribe. Check out all our other touring builds up here, and YouTube thinks you should watch this.